Β' targeting μπρα 050 40 25.000.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Fighter Pilot X, a commercial VR fighter jet simulator located in Hania, Crete. This is your host, Rusty, and in this video we start a series of videos, kind like of tutorials, on how to plan and execute a strike mission, an air-to-ground bombing mission. And in order for this to be fun and exciting, I will try to replicate what we did back in real life, back in the 90s, flying the A7. Please bear in mind that all these videos that I'm posting in my channel are for entertainment purposes only. You are not supposed to use this in real life in case you are a real life pilot. And keep also in mind that it's purely fictional and doesn't have to do anything with real life location, procedures, situations, etc. Our scenario starts with air tasking order for our home base, which is Paphos Airport in this part of Cyprus. And the ATO states that we need to strike a target in southeastern Turkey, here, the Alanya port, in order to disrupt the fuel flow from Turkish smugglers to ISIS forces in Syria. I will skip the part of decrypting the ATO and all these code works and symbols in there, and I go straight to what will happen in the planning room of the squadron, at which point the intel officer will provide some maps of the target, and he also will state, or he will read what the desired results would be from the ATO. I try to replicate such pictures. This is an example. So this is the port. This is the target, the refueling pier, where you can see a ship here gets refueled, or a tanker filled up its tanks. And if we go to the closer look, we will see that the intel officer would point the DIMPs, the hit points of our bombs, in order to destroy this target. This is considered a soft target with not so big air defenses. So during the brainstorm phase in the squadron, the usual result would be a pop-up attack in order to, with shallow dive angle, drop some bombs and break this 3 or 2 or even 1 point of this soft target. Before we proceed with the planning of all those things, let's talk a little bit about the pop-up attack and the idea behind it. The idea behind the pop-up attack is that you have a target, let's say there's a target here, is to come in low during the ingress phase from the IP, which is usually, it's about 20 to 25 miles away from the target. You have a line connecting the IP with the target. You go straight for the target. At some point, then this is God's eye view, top view for the pop-up attack. And the idea is that you come along in this route directly towards the target in a line abreast formation. At some point, you will do the action. That means you will deviate either left or right or equilaterally as a number 2, some degrees left, some degrees right. And this maneuver is done in order to have a better view of the target during the time you are about to roll in towards the target, dive towards the target and attack on him. This phase, the angle of phase, it's also done in low level, and at some point each aircraft will pull up with specific degrees to come to a point near the target. In this pull-up phase, the pilot searches for the target, and at a specific altitude he will start turning into the target with the purpose to reach the minimum attack perimeter, which is a circle, an imaginary circle around the target. Let's say the DBs are here, at which point the tracking phase starts. That means the aiming phase towards the target, where he will target and then execute a recovery or egress maneuver. And number two will do something like that with slightly different parameters, because there are some factors you need to take into account when you have an element attack. That means more than one aircraft are attacking the same target area. But the idea is the same. He should reach his parameters and attack his target and then exit with some egress maneuver. Usually in this attack plate, which is drawn in a map, you will have also the triangle of the attack, which is like this. This is the pull-up angle at the pull-up point, let's say 30. You will see an altitude here, which be the rolling altitude, 2.8. You will see an apex, the maximum altitude you reach during your maneuver, and here you will see the planned release altitude, for example 100 feet, and the minimum release altitude, for example something like that, 1500 feet, and here sometimes you have the dive angle 15 degrees. You are doing such a maneuver for many reasons. The most important of those is to sneak your enemies. The second is to detect an unknown target that you have been there, you have never been there before, so you need to easily acquire your target, even with not the use of modern systems like the Hemix that puts the diamond on the target. And the most important reason for these attacks is to put your aircraft in the correct attack wire or the attack triangle in order to help your computer solving the bombing problem. Here is the solution of such a problem that we used to do back in the days with the A7, that we did this manually, extracting numbers, deciding altitudes, impact angles, and extrapolating or calculating all the necessary numbers in order to produce these drawings on a map. Nowadays, this is done, I think, automatically. There is planning programs in each squadron planning room that will take care of this in a jiffy. So if you would like to know more about this, you need to watch another video that I'm gonna make explaining all these somehow complicated procedures on how to come up with a proper and flyable, accurate parameters for flying a pop-up attack. For now, you get to see the result of such planning for number 1 and number 2 aircraft, which is like this. This is already an e-board page that we're going to use when we are going to execute our flight. Here are the triangle, here the God's eye view, and here is with the dotted line and dashed line the egress, which is going to be a turning maneuver. And after I have decided this, we're gonna go to the drawing table and decide on the route, on how to reach the target safely and preferably undetected. For the planning of the route, I'm gonna use the Combat Flight, the program that most of you already know probably. It's not very good, actually it's not to my liking, but the best tool I have now is that produces quite quickly and almost efficiently the route that we need to fly. The other way to do the planning of the route, is to use the mission editor, which will take forever because you need to enter manually all the data of your route on your mission card. But for now, let's stick to our plan for today. So we have the target here. The original brainstorm came up with the idea that we need to exploit this narrow valley over here so we get a detective, do our 1.5 minute attack and then get the hell out of here in heading 220, which will put us directly in this gap blind zone of the two Hawk systems. One is here and the other one is down here. Okay, So we have a blind sector here, so we'll go away in this direction, low level. And let's now go and decide on the IP. The IP usually it is put 20 to 25 miles away from the target, but this is has to do with many other parameters. For now, I'm thinking of putting my IP somewhere here, which is this bend of the road, which probably I can see it, or here in this small intersection. If I count the distance, would be, I think, almost suitable, that and this track get us directly into the valley that I would like to exploit. That's why I'm gonna pick this point now. Object tools, insert waypoints. So insert waypoints, I will pick this bend here on the road. That's something okay. I'm working backwards towards my home base, and then I will rearrange the waypoints for the correct order. The idea is to hide and in low level between the crevices on the ground, and also, as I can see here, the two threat rings of the two hawk systems, it would be a good idea to fly perpendicular to each hawk system. That's in that way, if I fly perpendicular, let's say like this, in this direction, the solution of the problem, for the firing problem for the missile, you would get somewhere here. And another factor to fly perpendicularly, another reason to fly perpendicular to each system, is to not pose an immediate factor when the system works in auto shoot mode. Auto shoot mode is a rare. Usually you have a controller deciding on how to shoot, but again, this controller in the control room of the missile system has to decide to evaluate the level of the threat. So if you don't fly directly into him, you have less probabilities of getting you detected as a threat. So I will try to make a point here. You always trying to find points that you can recognize on the ground in case the system goes wrong, so you can fly dead reckoning by holding the timer or getting to know the points. I see this point here that is, I think it will be distinguishable when flying from. I'm checking the distance. Oh, this is a good distance, so I will put a point here in this kind of intersection. So I need again to check my flight and then insert waypoint, which will be, I would like to fly perpendicular, so it will be here. And working this way backwards, I'm gonna enter this valley here. So I'm gonna go for this point. I see this nice canyon-like river that goes like this. I know by studying the satellite photos at this point there is a water reservoir, so we have concentrations of water here, here, and here, even though it is not shown in this map. So next waypoint will be here, I think, which is also an intersection of roads. Nice. And then I know that I'm gonna follow this route here, so my next point will be, let's find a point that we can make. This is power lines. We don't use power lines usually as landmarks for navigation. We prefer roads, intersections, and also we would like to avoid populated areas close to the target. We don't want the civilians to give early warning on incoming aircrafts. Sometimes this is something you cannot avoid, but usually this is the norm. So I think I will put this, the next point, somewhere here. It looks like an intersection, and then directly to the entry of this valley is in Filke, this city. I'm gonna follow this route back, because if I enter here, I am on the verge of this, on the margin of these detection areas, and also I am entering in this gap here on the map, blind spot between those two systems. So next point, I'm gonna make it, let's say, the intersection, the road bend here. And just to avoid the city of Silfilke, we're gonna go, so let's take the next point to be this here, this tip, and let's go back. We are still in hostile ground. There is a nice castle here in Famagusta. If I take this part here, we can go through the castle and watch the castle in the occupied Famagusta. So I will pick this point here, this tip here, and then I think, even though it will be quite a long leg, usually you don't go with very long legs, it's not efficient. So I will say that I will put another waypoint. Let's make it somewhere here just below these mountains, this intersection here, and we have the airport next. Okay, so the idea behind this route is that I will fly in this direction, not wearing and not directly here. The reason for not flying directly towards your target in a straight line is because usually such kind of missions have a TOT, so you need to catch to be at the bomb dropping point a specific time with an accuracy of 15 to 10 seconds. You need to have this side routes, as I say, not directly to the target, in order to cut legs if you are late on your target. So I think that route for going into the target will be okay. I don't want to spend more on time of this video about the return. The return is gonna be somewhere here from the sea and then directly to friendly zone inside this Patriot defense system. So it will keep any air defenses that we are expecting from Finike here and from the north here away from Paphos Airport. And this is the general idea of picking the route. Here is the finished route with speeds, altitude, point elevation and everything. Keep in mind that for the Falcon to fly correctly and you have an actual depiction of your point, next waypoint into the ground, you have to have the correct elevation entered in the computer. So this is something you need to account for, especially if you are planning on using the Hemix to locate the diamond in the ground. You need to have the correct elevation of the point in order to get a good visual depiction over the actual point on the ground. So I think that pretty much the planning is over. Everything is ready for briefing and fly, which will be the next video right after that. See you.